All right, we're live. We did it. We were live on LinkedIn and YouTube, which I'm fired up about. Hexy, what's up, man?
How are you doing? It's been a
Oh, I'm doing, man. I'm doing. It's good to be with you today. Excited to talk about, excuse me, the integration between HelpGhost and Bumblebee and the value that we're bringing to MSPs. Just insane amounts of value that nobody could ever understand unless they use it, which they should. So, but it's good to be with you, man. And real fast, I'm a big fan of Hexy. For everybody watching, Hexy's awesome, man. We built a pretty cool relationship, and to finally integrate with this platform to see what Bumblebee does, and I'm very impressed with Hexy's product and everything they've built so far, and excited to see where they go in the future. And really excited to have them as a part of the Help Ghost ecosystem, man. So just up front, thanks for making this happen, and excited to see what we can do for our users,
Indeed very excited to be here and go a little bit more in depth. I think I met Jamie maybe 6 months ago, and a lot of the values that we share underpins this partnership that is coming along and introducing today. Excited to dive into it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Well, real fast, you wrote a blog article about why you thought this integration was so important and the value it would bring to MSPs, right? So I just wanted to hear, kind of your thoughts on, that article that you wrote, and maybe take it from a more, just direct point of view while we're live here.
Yeah, the one core value we have here at Bumblebee is, or have for myself, is to meet customers where they are. And that means whatever their existing process is, you try to just not make them go out of their way to do the job they needed to do. That means if you can put something inside the PSA, do it, right? If you can meet them halfway through their workflow, do it. Now, one of the fundamental challenge Bumblebees run into is that it requires some careful building to get a process nailed down. But once something is built and it's ready to go and battle tested, the rest should be really seamless. Like running it should be very much a no-brainer. And
Yeah.
that's where we realize, okay, we actually need to partner with folks that are already bringing intelligence directly to whoever is using the intelligence and enable that particular experience to be more powerful. And that's what drive us towards partnership, and that's what bring us here.
It's one of those things that we saw it pretty early on of just the value of having automation be able to execute these workflows. Because look, at the end of the day, MSPs and their technicians really struggle with, trying to find as much time in their day as humanly possible, right? And anything that you can do, and our mission statedly has been from the very beginning, what can we do to remove the work that these technicians, these MSPs don't need to actually have to do, that are actually, that this work that doesn't actually require them. And not because they're not valuable, it's because they're too valuable. It's actually the opposite. It's because the work that they should be doing, and the things that they should have time for, get taken up by these, and inundated with these mundane, these tedious, these mind-numbing tasks. And it never ceases to amaze me every time I say those descriptors. I use that language that immediately MSPs know what I'm talking about. They know what I'm saying when they hear those, the tedious, the mind-numbing, right? And so when we look at the integration with Bumblebee, it was okay. I feel like HelpGhost, I mean, according to our users and our customer base, the things that we've done so far, we've done that up to a certain point, right? But what's that next logical step? What's the next product evolution? And it was always clearly, well, it's got to act now. It's got to be able to do the things, right? And we saw there were options out in the field. And one of the things that I think users today, this is just talking from our customer base or people that are on HelpGhost, right? That were using automations, right? Whether N8N or whatever, and others. But there's a lot of complexity. And they unfortunately had to deploy more resources just to run these automations, right? To perform tasks. And that to me just doesn't make any sense. Like you're doing these things, you're running automations, you're inputting solutions like HelpGhost and Bumblebee to make more use of the existing team that you already have and do more with them, not have to deploy another resource just to manage these things for you, right? It's minimally disrupted workflow. So We looked at Bumblebee. Obviously, we built a relationship with you, and it was obvious, man. You have made things really simple for MSPs when it comes to perform these actions. And then we want to take it one step further and thought, well, HelpGhost is already really simple. We put a lot of time and resources into making the UX UI as easy and as simple as possible, right? Well, what if you could trigger those automation, those actions through Bumblebee in the window that you're already working on in the ticket view? That your technicians don't even have to leave that view. They can just do that work there and save an astronomical amount of time, right? And I think that's what we have built with just the integration between Bumblebee and HelpGhost. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on that before I jump into the actual demonstration part of it.
The ones that builds the automation aren't the person who's going to run this automation. Oftentimes, like building this require careful process-driven mindset and very rigorous testing with understanding of how to use sandbox as a mechanism to safeguard an automation from doing the wrong thing. So when it comes to like trying something one off, it's really simple. It's just like asking AI to do it. But when it comes to building a production workflow, there's a lot more thoughts about guardrails, controls, governance on top of it. So we've typically found like the person who's building it is a lot more senior, but once that process is built, that leverage can apply it across the board, right? Anybody who is intro level tech can actually execute certain workflows. And in fact, as a senior, you have more confidence that your workflow is going to work correctly because you built it and you touched all the edge cases versus you write a documentation for somebody else to read and follow through. So there is an improved consistency element to getting something done as well for formalizing a process. And that just force multiplied across essentially the entire tech team. When you give that power into everybody who is already chatting with an AI to get answers, now the AI not only have essentially the knowledge, but also have the hands to essentially materialize the side effects that needs to happen with the knowledge. And I think that is a powerful combination.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No, I love that analogy of like of what I think you said on the thing, brain meet hands, right? Like it's like, okay, you have the information, you have the knowledge, you have the know-how, but now you have the ability. And that's what we call the execution gap. That's what we identified was okay, the AI can do so much, right? And in our product can do so much from a sourcing the answers, from getting the technician at the highest point of need to know what they need to do, right? At that time, saving time from a research perspective, right? All those things are time savings. But obviously, the biggest gap was that execution gap, was like what you're talking about, that hands element. Like, hey, like that Microsoft 365 onboarding, like it just takes time. It's like there's no other way around it. No matter how many times you've done it, it's going to take time. Well, now can you do it in a couple of seconds as opposed to 15 minutes or whatever have you, right? So anyways, I'm going to share the demo now. Give me 1 second here. I gotta share my screen. Okay, so what we're looking at now is our product HelpGhost Hero that is embedded into Halo PSA and others, ConnectWise, Autotask, etc. Right? And right now, this is a ticket for a Microsoft 365 user onboarding that needs to be done. I have opened the ticket as you can see here, and Hero has already read the information. Okay, we've got a Microsoft 365 user onboarding workflow that can handle this. I'm going to execute this workflow with HelpGhost Hero to Bumblebee. So now all your people have to do is sit back and watch Hero go to work. You can see the workflow is ready for your review. So now all you have to do as a technician is come here, make sure everything is correct. We always talk about human in the loop is a really big deal for us, right? And then all you have to do is hit execute. That's it. So now you have not left your ticket view, and this is probably going to say partially successful because we're in a sandbox demo environment. But as you can see, Hero has already pulled the context of the ticket when it pulls it up. You don't have to tell HelpGhost, right? It's already pulled the context. It's already read the ticket. It's already looked at everything that it needs to. Good news, because of our integration with Bumblebee, we have a workflow that you can just trigger. You don't have to do this yourself. Typically, this information is already going to be on the ticket, and then it'll automatically pull that and fill that information in. Here is mapping out the solution, sifting through the noise. Step one, I'll set the workflows queued up. Now I'm going to go ahead and execute. As you can see, it's down here. You once again, a human in the loop can confirm, make sure the information is correct. Awesome. So it's checking onboarding, it's creating updated user, assigning the license, assign group managers, verify setup, summarizing the results. And there we go. It's all set. The workflow is queued up with tenant ID. The workflow, as you can see, the workflow execution has been confirmed. That user onboarding has occurred in less than 1 minute and 31 seconds. It performed 6 different steps, and you did not have to leave your ticket view to accomplish that. Once again, you're now your people, your technicians, the people that are doing the work every single day can do something that would traditionally take them 10, 15 minutes, now down to 1 minute and 31 seconds, where they don't have to leave the ticket view. They don't have to switch. They don't have to context switch. They don't have to tab switch. They stay where they're working with a minimally interrupted workflow. And that's one of the things that, matter to us a lot is how do we cut the disruption of the work being done as little as possible, right? And any disruption does occur as a net benefit, not a net cost to the technician. So do you have that pulled up, Hexy?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mentioned earlier, there is a process for building a workflow and testing a workflow. I'm just going to walk you guys through that real quick. Since we talked about like the user onboarding workflow, this would be a good example. Actually, let me use this endpoint. So you'll kind of start off building a workflow by just creating this workflow object, and then you use prompt. This is typically where you paste in your documented process to build the workflow. The first big difference is that we have an AI builder that actually helps ask questions and come up with the right structure. This AI is trained specifically on understanding what are the underlying tools that are being used. Like, for example, Microsoft, how to work with Microsoft, as well as what can you do against Microsoft. It's hyper trained on those type of work. So you can see it's constructing the workflow step by step here. And it's now like this is literally reconstructing that demo workflow that we've just ran live and creating this workflow. Obviously, we had a very specific prompt, so that helps the AI get the questions answered. Sometimes AI would ask you clarifying questions before building out the workflow.
I think the biggest thing is just showing how simple it is, right? Like that's one of the things that I think scared. I mean, obviously automation has been so incredibly helpful already for MSPs in the world at large, right? But like one of the biggest deals is how simple you've made it, right? Like a lot of times when I've tried to build, workflows myself using other tooling, man, it's just, you can get real frustrated, obviously. I mean, I look at like the times that I've used Zapier, for instance, and tried to build these multi-step workflows within Zapier, right? For things internally here. And it's just, you cannot figure it out. Like there are steps in between that keep failing, you keep pushing, and you're like, I know I can, this is going to be super helpful. What Bumblebee has done that's impressed me is the complexity of the tasks that you've done, the workflows that you've built out, but the ease of having them build that. Like it's just natural language of being able to say, do this thing, build this workflow, and to have it build it out for you. And I mean, how long does the average workflow you think take to be built in your experience?
Actually, kind of getting the first pass is quick, 10, 20 minutes. And then you start getting into this iterative cycle of making some tests, making some adjustments, fine tune, and then running through some edge cases. So we've seen workflow going into production ready from like 1 hour, half 1 hour. The more important element is the user who builds this doesn't need to understand code. It needs to understand process tools, but it does not need to understand code. So this empowers more people to be building automation. You used to have to be a automation engineer or automation consultant of sorts that have to have pre-built skills, understanding how to navigate relatively complicated RPA tool that usually require training. This just kind of makes anyone who can understand the process, speak the language, to be able to communicate with the Bumblebee Builder and come up with something.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to be working with you and have Bumblebee integration done. Appreciate you guys' patience. Like that's the thing with live streams and live demos is that you have to take everything that comes at you. But we obviously showed the execution workflow. It was super simple, super easy. once again, I want to point out that our goal, and I think I can speak for Hexy as well, is to take those things, those tedious, mundane things, the work that your people are buried in, and remove them from that work so they have the time to do the things that drive the business forward and frankly that they want to do. I can't tell you how many times I've met with technicians at the teams running MSPs, right? And they talk about why they got into that line of work and what they wanted to accomplish and what they wanted to do with their time, right? And I can tell you right now, it's not password resets and rebooting printers and Microsoft 365 onboardings. Like a lot of these technicians, a lot of these guys, man, gals, that I've talked to want the harder stuff. They want the strategic projects. They want the things that take more time. They want to solve the puzzles, right? And the good news is those are the things that drive your business forward. And I think one of the last things I want to say before we hop off today is the future of the MSP is going to be strategic partnerships and consulting, right? We all know this. The shops now forever have moved away from break fix. We know that. And more MSPs are trying to move away from, at least partially away from reactive support, right? MSPs are starting to become now more than ever these strategic consultants, these advisors, these people that you come to for their expert opinion. Well, there's one thing that AI is never going to be able to do. It's never going to be able to replicate your empathy. It's never going to be able to replicate your human judgment. It's never going to be able to replicate the relationships that you build with your clients. And at the end of the day, that's really what sets MSPs apart are those human elements. Because the fact of the matter is, it's the same tech stack across the spectrum. You guys all use the same PSAs, the RMMs, the knowledge bases, so on and so forth, the same AI platforms, right? And automation, right? That stuff stops becoming a differentiator when everybody starts using those platforms. The differentiator is you and your people. So you need to select the stack and the tools that allow you to do more of what makes you positioned uniquely. And I believe that's what HelpGhost and Bumblebee are offering in our integration, in our partnership to you, is enabling you to do the things that only you can do for your clients. And the real reason they came to you and the real reason they want to work with you. So that's my final piece. Thanks for jumping on. We'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.